Hi, I wanted to give some video feedback for some of these, and you've done a really good job. It's a pleasure to go through these with you. And Julia, your background and your contrast, your tagline, everything is really great. There's some scrolling, but I know exactly what I'm getting into, so it's okay. This is normally too deep for headers, but so far it seems fine. Do go through this with a grammar check. All right. I'm not sure this white line, although I like the white against this, I just don't know that it has a purpose for being right there. I think you mean I love talking to, so go through carefully. It's just the right amount. I agree with Melanie that you want to say something like, I explore many paths and continue to learn and grow every single day, as opposed, to perhaps selling yourself so much. Let's update your copyright. I like this. I like the colors a lot. They are really working so far. And the fact that this is just your draft is should really be helpful to you because you're going to grow a lot over the next several months. We do want to remove empty space. It's possible that you'll have something there soon. I try to be a little consistent with how you place your asset guides. Maybe they're aligned. Aligned work seems to work best. This ends up with a lot of empty space, so maybe that's something that goes underneath, and maybe they each have something underneath. You could even bring this up. This is strong. However, this is something I see a lot, and that is you want your thumbnail to be as attractive as the work itself. Everything that you would do in your work, that is, make sure you have padding. And this seems like a lot of text for this thumbnail size, and it's really close. So those are all the things you want to think about. How things wrap, how close things are, whether everything is left aligned. You could just take a portion of this if you needed to, but it's working really well. A little hard to read this, but it's okay. It's all right. Mainly, I think I would simplify this, bring this up, whether it's on the left or the right, and put your asset guides below and an alignment. This is really strong. I like it a lot. I think it could be one of your more important pieces, and those always come first. Okay. All right. This is competing a little bit, so we'll be thinking about the best way to solve that, whether it's just to make this header smaller, whether to cut it down to say my work history or my skills. We'll see. We'll think about that. I like it a lot. It's just that it competes a little bit with this. This font, a little hard to read, and so you want to be consistent with those. I do like this. So be consistent with that. Left align. I think you may need a little bit of space. You have time to think about it. We want to try and have just two fonts, and here we have this font, this one, and this one. So that's really what we're looking at, is the hierarchy and the font styles mostly. And again, run it through a grammar check. All right. And all you need to say is, I continue to add skills or something. You don't have to say I hope, because you will. I know you will. And appears to be another font. So that's really where we are on this. Make sure you don't have a specific address for you or a phone number, because we don't, you just want to give people your number after you've contacted them and you've kind of vetted their purpose for contacting you. So that's something that you'll look at. But you've done a really great job, and it has a very consistent style. So good there. Okay. So when you get to web design, that's when you'll be responsible for the mobile section. You'll probably want to cut this down a little bit and left align it. And you'll probably clean these up a little bit. This is still working. I don't know if you'll want to center these two items or not. I don't know. I do like the pyramid. It's just something to think about. See what I think the next time we see it. Yeah, if you make this shorter, it won't wrap like that. Left align, cut that down. Yeah. So you'll have more content, and that's going to be interesting to see next time, all right? But terrific start. Great job, especially when it's just a draft, right? Melanie, this has simplified a lot over the months. And so we're going to enter site down here. Okay. Better. I think, consider left aligning that and see what happens. We've got a lot of space here we could think about. I don't know that it would work putting this up here, but we do have a lot of empty space. Think about this font over the next few months and see if we've got something that would really go well with this style of fashion. And that means something simple. So we'll think about that. Maybe a sans serif, and probably try and break this in a way where we don't have one word by itself. So we'll think about that, whether you left align this break here and put that here, but definitely left align your body copy and be thinking about a sans serif like this. Again, it's a little hard to read this. Maybe it needs to be white instead of silver. Okay, good. It would really look intentional if you were able to curve this around just a little. Okay, just sort of curve it around. It would mimic this muscle. That's the kind of things you look for when you get really detailed into design, okay? Okay. There's nothing that says this has to be that color. You could bring in something other than those colors. It sort of sticks out. It could be, red. It could be yellow or something. Okay. All right. I think if you can get this down to 3 lines, it would be better. You do have a small letter there where it should be consistent. But if you could get this down, that might be a little lighter on this section. Okay. All right. All right. The contact page always goes at the end, and so if I'm looking to contact you through an email, for example, you might need to have this isn't working for me. These two things are just laid over this great picture, so they really don't belong. I can see if that perhaps worked into something like that, but these are just sort of laid on, overlapped, and they're not going to work for you there. Okay. Yeah, so we're going to need a contact page where someone can just click it and get to your information, and it's all at the top, and they can go straight to contacting you, all right? It's really looking great. All right, Logan. I love that your name is so clearly visible. I think over the next several months, you'll look for another profile image. I like how this is very clear, but the background doesn't really go with this style of color and brightness. So, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, it's possible you could even airbrush this out. This font is a little hard to read. This is so easy to read, this not so much. So I do like that you say now you're a content creator, and maybe you're a content creator for just a dude on the internet, but let's make this left align, and it's really close here, so we need a little more space between lines. That's called leading. So let's fix that a little bit. Try not to have one word on a line. Let's make sure you take this through a grammar check just to be sure. And let's see. We need to make this a little higher contrast so we can find it maybe in the green and a little larger. Okay, so this is your style. So from this, okay. So from this, let's choose these colors and create that throughout. Okay, so works takes a little bit of time. It could be that it's needs to be optimized. Let's see, you've got all this space, but then none underneath. So let's try and work these out. You may want to left align all of these. Make sure you have the same amount of space between everything. This is aligned, that's good. You don't really need to number these necessarily. If you need to edit them down, that's fine. You could say description or skills, title, role, if you need to break that down. But I think you're going to want them all left aligned, and how you have these aligned like that is what you want to do throughout, with a little more space underneath it. Probably images, these should be separated by images. So practice a grid there is the main thing. This looks nice. Okay. All right, so you're going to need a contact page that is solely for your contact. Okay, and like I say, you're not responsible for your mobile. You will be in the future, and you'll want to make sure it doesn't cover up your eyes, for example. So some of the same things are going to apply here. Probably left align this if that's how you want it. Unless you plan on launching this before you graduate, you could say a full sail graduate in media communications, bachelor's. Okay, so yeah, alignment's going to be important. Take out the numbers, go ahead and cut that down, edit it as we suggested. This works if there was some space underneath it. And this is sort of floating here. We could center it. All right. But there are aspects that are going to look great. Okay. Needs a little space there, but this is looking good with this background. Okay. All right. Terrific start. All right, David. I happen to really like this. I think it's really clean, and I like that a lot. Your links are working. And that's great. I love the color scheme. let's give a photo credit here. And okay, so let's just make sure that you've gone through and checked all of that. We get tired sometimes and we miss spelling errors, and it'd be nice to just make sure we never have to deal with that. So, okay. Okay, part of me wants to see this centered, which would ultimately be like that, but I'm not sure when you're working on it how that's going to work out for you. And if we click on this, will it give us your asset guide? It sure does. Perfect. Looks good. Okay. All right, all right. Okay, so this, you may want to freeze your header here so it doesn't overlap anywhere. Something to think about. And you will hook these up to especially a LinkedIn, in your case also an Instagram, I think. This page I was concerned about because, of course, all the future dates. So this is something that you'll want to fill out a little bit, but I do like it. I like it quite a bit, okay, the way it's done. This is working really well, and you cover concerns. Just make sure you go through it, but laid out beautifully. I love the colors. It's all good. Okay, all right. Terrific start. Okay, Clayton, your logo, you'll want to simplify it because we really can't read this, and images are really difficult to scale. Logos will want to be in Adobe Illustrator for scalability. You can make them as large or small as you want. And alignment is going to be something you'll want to look at. We have this in the center, we have this over here, this over a little bit more. And because you have these lines, it's important. You will want to probably, I think, as much as I like this image, and maybe it's something you can use somewhere else, I think you should go with these letters and bring this underneath it. Make the letters bigger and just bring that underneath it. So it's going to be CTBS and this underneath. That I think you can get away with. And it will also, you can bring it all over here out of the way so it won't do this. Okay. Update the copyright. And you'll need asset guides to tell us a little bit about this. I mean, I recognize this, so I know what it's for, but, and you know, maybe you'll have some work that you can replace it with that is more in the kind of thing that you hope to be doing. Okay. Something like this you would want to be on one line rather than breaking and coming over here by itself. That's just something you get used to deciding when it works and when it doesn't. Okay. Different fonts here. We've totally changed fonts, so we only want 2 fonts. Very nice. And when you have a thumbnail, you're going to make your thumbnail work. That is, you're not going to cut things off, okay? All right, and you'll want to align this, I think, with this. Bring it out. All right, and you will just put asset guide instead of my work that I did, okay? You'll just say Real Deal Taco ad. Okay. And maybe the skills that you used, if you know what the app was, for example. Nice. You will want your spacing to be the same all the way between items and underneath. That's important. You'll grid things. Okay. All right. Yeah, this is going to look good. Now you can either put this in the center and freeze it and put the CTBS above it and not, you'll get rid of this. You'll just have the CTBS up here, this underneath it. You can either move it all to the left or you can keep it centered, and that will look good too, but you'll need to freeze it so it doesn't overlap like this. Okay, so you will just put an opaque background and freeze that. But I think that will look nice. These colors will look nice with the black and white ratio that you have here. All right. Okay. All right. You might put these at the bottom, just something to think about. And you're going to change a lot. You're going to change a lot over the next few years. I mean, months, that is, or the year. These may want to be centered or larger. Bring that in. All right. Great start. Can't wait to see this again next year. Okay, Rebecca. All right. This may need to be a little heavier, and I think just one of these would be good. If you, yeah. And to match this, you can always use a straight divider as opposed to a forward slash if you want. You could go behind this on this image and you could blend out this green, and so it doesn't break up so much and make it hard to read. You could blend this aqua all the way across in Photoshop, and so when you bring it back in, this would, while it's easier to read over the black, it's breaking up so much. You could even bring the black over and edit it that way, the image, and it would be easy to see. You could even make an opaque, I was going to say opacity, an opaque box that's maybe 10% black behind this, and that might give you more contrast as well. But you can always go in and fix some of these things. Put it on 2 layers, put this on 1 layer, put the image on another layer, and look at what you can do to make it easier to read if you really are sold on an image. Sometimes it's better if it's one of yours and you really need to hold on to it. Try to give some space here. Good. Very good. Okay. So in this situation, you look for things like this is a circle, this is a circle. Keep those things in mind when you're arranging things. Okay, you have this twice, you only need it once. Okay, so kind of like that line weight. That could be, if you're going to have this, then you could consider that in red. And this. This is longer. I personally would rather see this the same width, the box anyway. Try and find words that are the same. It could be video editing, might be similar in length. Even though I do like editing and it's short, it's just that this box is longer, and little things like that kind of get me. That it doesn't bother me. I'm just saying those are things I look for. This is a nice square, just things to think about. But you're on a great track here. I feel like it feels, let's see, it feels like this isn't quite centered, Doesn't mean it isn't, it just feels that way. It could be this, something to think about. It could be this framing around it. But at any rate, I like this, and I think we need to be consistent. Okay, I think we need to use this style for all your assets instead of doing this. Okay, so just make sure you go through a grammar check for that. Good. Let's keep the spacing similar. You want to close that up a little bit. Yeah, those are things you'll look at. Nice. This color combination is really strong, isn't it? It's one of the strongest combinations you can have is black and yellow. And then you have the white is nice. Freshens it up a little bit. But let's do that. Let's narrow in on the colors. We've got here 1, 2, 3, 4. I realize it's just affecting it because maybe the box sometimes what it's next to looks a different way, but let's just try and simplify as much as we can. This font, well, if nothing else, it's a different size, and okay, it may be the same font, but it's definitely a different size. I think this can be cut one paragraph, probably. It's hard to read the contact when we're on the About page. Okay, so you want to look at that. These are tough to read, so go through and find the most difficult one to read and affect that accordingly and make the others match. Okay, and I like the yellow that was behind it too. This would cut down. Okay. And good to put Adobe Creative Cloud, put Adobe Illustrator, because when they're looking for keyword searches, Illustrator is not the same as Adobe Illustrator, right? Photoshop, maybe, they may, but an Illustrator is going to be a totally different kind of thing. So, and of course, if you do it to one, you have to do it to all of them. But as far as a search engine, Adobe before the app is helpful. Okay, I do like these. Yeah, be consistent with your headers. Probably center these. Take some space out. And of course you're going to choose just one. So there's just some decisions. If it's going to be primary, yellow and red, or this gray that needs higher contrast. And these are all things that you can go through and see for yourself, and you will get to where you are very capable of making all your changes yourself and seeing them all. But these are just things to mention to you to bring them out. So you'll notice. All right, terrific, terrific. Hi, Nicole. I agreed with your peer review. I love the colors here. I love this logo. And I'm not sure about this and this. This doesn't match this logo. Even if it's in the same style, because you've got it duplicated there, it's not reading as the same font. Even though I believe it is. Okay, so maybe you just have an NW that's in this color. Maybe you just have an NW in purple, but I'm not really opposed to the purple. I just really like these two colors very well. And this, okay. I think something simpler in this color and weight. Maybe it's even the hamburger bar, but it's always one extra step when we click and then bring in a menu. But yeah, so we want to work on that, simplifying it, bringing it up. Maybe consider having a simple 3-page menu here instead in that color. Let's see. Kind of getting away from this color that I like, and now you've introduced a few, kind of a pink. This purple is slightly different from that, different fonts. So just some streamlining in your case, focusing on what's working. This is working for you. I rarely see it working, but it is working. Okay. I don't mind this. But this blurriness isn't, it might work if it were large, as some sort of, ad that you were doing. That would be cool, but less so for a website font. Okay, a little hard to read. Yeah, that needs something there. Okay. Okay. Uh-huh. Okay. And I think you're learning how important white space is. It helps your, like this. That's a very nice logo also. I don't know if that font would work as, you have to be careful adding an additional font with what you have, but one or the other would work, either this logo or the one you currently have. Nice. Let's rename this file, okay? And if you want, you can say description and just put, style guide and content calendar or something, so we're not covering this up. Okay. Very cool. Yeah, so we just have a couple of styles going on. And your asset guide, your style guide is one thing. That's the one you want to do throughout your sites. Okay? All right. Terrific job. I know that there are other things here. Okay. And you'll make sure when you do put your navigation here, because you have so much, it will want to probably be frozen somewhere, even if it's just down like this as a hamburger for 3 lines. But it'd be nice for it to show up right here, for it to be anchored right there when you click on graphic elements. And I do think you want to definitely simplify your navigation. We don't need this much. It gets cluttered, and you've got your social media icons. You just need them in one place, probably here at the bottom. So this would be really great as one project, but as far as working across your whole website, we need to streamline and make a choice. All right. But I absolutely love it, and I love the work that you've put on it. This is a little harder to read by far, okay? But I'm very excited about where you're going, and I can't wait to see the work that you're going to create over the next several months. All right, Nicole, I'm looking forward to what everybody's building. Keep going.